Dear all, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to task 2. In this task, I am going to introduce you to another concept which is logistics and supply chain management. This task aims to provide you an understanding of the origin and scope of logistics, materials, logistics and distribution management, reverse logistics, supply chains, and value chain analysis. So we will complete these tasks through two short presentations. The learning material is available on the SULMS. So please go through the slides and then pre-watch this video. So the first question when we talk about this topic would come to your mind that what is logistics? Basically, if you want to understand in a simple way, logistics means movement of material within an organization and all the support related to it. As a term, logistics is an old term and its origin lies with the military logistics, the approach that was used by the militaries in the past. So the supply chain approach that was used by the armies, which was developed from logistics, this is what we mean by military logistics. So you can understand in a different way like logistics, initially a military term which is dated back to the historical wars, refers to the technique of moving and quartering armies. So when armies move, they take with them certain material goods and other things. They take shelter at some places, that is called quartering. So all that sort of support which army needs, that was given by logistics, and we call this as logistics management. So earlier the word logistics, which was derived during the war times, the historical perspective, and which purely implied military logistics, now it is being used in non-military applications. So mostly after the World War and other such war activities, the science and arts that was developed for moving material from one place to other in the post-war era or in the peace era was used by organizations. So that it is now you can say that the total material management of key operational functions in the supply chain pertaining to procurement, production and distribution is considered now under logistics management. What does procurement means here? It includes purchasing and product development. The production function includes manufacturing and assembling, while the distribution function involves warehousing, inventory, and transport and delivery. So this is important in that context. So let's come to the other slide, which says that logistics can be understood from two perspectives. One is material management and second is physical distribution management. So as we said that logistics means movement of material from one place to other place, one function to other function in the organization when organization manufacture products or services. So what is material management part of logistics? It is the planning, organization and control of all aspects of inventory, embracing procurement when you purchase things, warehousing when you store it temporarily, work in progress when you are moving the things to the operations and operations is working on it, producing something and keeping the half done work, that is called work in progress, and distribution of finished goods. So every that sort of material, the movement of material or parts or assemblies, sub-assemblies or work in progress or finished goods within the organization, it comes under the scope of materials management. Then comes physical distribution management. Once organizations have produced things, they need to market it, or they need to supply it to their business partners or distributors, up to the customers and customers. So physical distribution management takes control of those movement activities which are beyond the organizations. So organizations have produced things, they are called finished goods, and then they need to be moved out of the organization to the customers. So that part is taken care by physical distribution management, which is concerned with the flow of goods from the receipt of an order until the goods are delivered to the customer. So it works between marketing and distribution people. So here in this particular slide, you see the scope of logistics management. You can see the 6 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these blocks are pertains to different scope of logistics management. First is procurement or acquisition, where you're purchasing things, procuring things, and acquiring them and keeping it in your inventory. So these things may be raw materials, sub-assemblies, manufactured parts, proprietary parts, packaging, and other materials. Second block is pertaining to transport and storage, where you move this material which has been procured to the factory store. And third block talks about operations or production processes, where actual manufacturing works are undertaken. And here only when you are working on the things, you get work in progress, which is shown at the bottom. That is a sort of semi-finished or semi-manufactured parts or products. Then the fourth block talks about transport and storage. Once the parts have been made or products have been made, so they go to finished goods warehouse. And after that, the transport and storage block is there, which helps in regional and movement of the things, like you are supplying from the factory warehouse to regional warehouse or depot, and then to further intermediaries, and then finally you are sending those things to customers or consumers, that means for use. So this is the entire scope of logistics management. And if you see at the bottom below, you will see that material management, the scope starts from the procurement up to production mainly, and then up to finished goods. So within the confines of the factory, whatever is received and whatever is stored in the form of finished goods, all those management related activities that supports the movement of material, that is called materials management. And once the finished good is ready, it is to be transported to the customers or through intermediaries. That part of distribution comes under physical distribution management. So in other words, you can say that logistics is a sum of, in a simple way, materials management and physical distribution management for a company, for an organization. Okay, so it has an input phase and it is concerned with the output phase. That is very important to understand. So now, where does logistics lie in the whole supply chain? So when we call it supply chain is a bigger concept or larger concept than logistics. Like logistics is larger concepts than materials management or physical distribution management. Similarly, supply chains, they connect not only single organizations but organizations with its you know supplier and an organization with its buyer. So it's only one link I showed you, suppose. But suppliers also are buying from some other suppliers. They are called suppliers. And customers are also selling to other customers. They are called customers. So if you keep on adding these links, that makes a chain of organization, that is called supply chain. Okay. So now This is a simple diagram which shows you the scope of logistics. Logistics management, it says that materials management plus physical distribution management. Okay, and it is within the company, and it starts from the boundaries of supplier to the boundaries of customer, ends with the boundaries of customers. So that is the scope of logistics management in any manufacturing organization. So for better understanding, I will advise you to understand Valley's supply chain and see they have a particular section there, and they have defined the logistics here for a typical mining company, what sort of logistics they need. And accordingly, if you do some more search, you will be able to understand their supply chain also. So I have already explained to you the term materials management. So here my effort will be to explain to you a concept that is called reverse logistics. To understand reverse logistics means, like in a way, when we are talking about, we talk about materials management and physical distribution management, which talks about the forward flow of organizations right from the procurement side to the customer side. But sometimes in some companies, we need to collect back the material from the customer and we need to send it back to the organization. So it's a reverse sort of action that we are expecting. So all the movement of material which we plan to collect from the customers and then back to the organization, that comes under reverse logistics. Mainly it happens in the case of organizations where they want to reprocess or recycle the things. So any organizations in your example, if you talk about the bottling plants like Oman Oasis company, which supplies water bottles, in a big bottles, waters in our university, and they are put on the water posts, and after they are finished, then the company collects them back, not only from the university but also from households or through petrol stations or through hypermarkets. So they need a proper plan in order to collect those used bottles. Those empty bottles can be reused if they are in a good shape, or they should be recycled to produce plastic again and to be used for other types of products. So reverse logistics, now you can understand that it is a process of planning, implementation, and controlling the efficient, cost-effective flow of raw materials, in process inventory, finished goods, and related information from the point of consumption to the point of origin, for the purpose of recapturing value or proper disposal. So either you recapture the value of a bottle in our example, or you dispose it properly, or you recycle it and you produce it, plastic again from it, and then that plastic can be used for other manufacturing of other things, like not food grade items, maybe chairs, tables, or any other things which you can consider. So this is the diagram for reverse logistics. You can see on the left is customer, okay, user or disposer. So customer, basically what it's doing, it's returning the goods after using it, and it may be returning directly to the company or to some intermediary, or it may be collected by the supplier. Then it is reaching the supplier is sorting it, and then it is sending to back to the other business units or the manufacturer, those who manufacture that. So, and the manufacturer can use it for remanufacturing, like cars. Some parts of the cars can be used, reused, remanufactured. They can be reused, they can be called scrap, means there is no other things, no value can be gained from it except to converting it into the basic material again, and rectify, corrections and other things, and reconditions means again making it again usable, reconditioning it. So all these processes, when it happens, then we call it reverse logistics, which starts from the customer which is given to you on your left and reaches back to the manufacturer who manufactured it or to other companies who can dispose it. So logistics and supply chains, what are they? Supply chains are very important for any business because they provide value to the customer or they build value in any products or services which may be manufactured far off. Think of products being manufactured in Japan, how they reach Oman. They reach Oman because of the logistics and supply chain efficiencies of organizations who are in the supply chain. Otherwise, to send one product, one piece from there would be so costly that it will be thousands times more than its cost. But when it comes, then the cost is distributed, and that efficiency, that planning which is required to deliver different goods from different places to a particular country or a particular city, that all needs a very well planned supply chain network. So what is a supply chain? A supply chain is that network of organizations that are involved through upstream and downstream linkages in the different processes and activities that produce value in the form of products and services in the hands of the ultimate customer or consumer. So here you need to understand what are upstream linkages and what are downstream linkages. Like if you consider yourself as a manufacturer, so you have upstream linkages with your supplier. Supplier have further upstream linkages with their supplier. Similarly, if you are a manufacturing organizations, you have downstream linkages with your customers, and those customers may have further linkages with their customers. So they are called downstream linkages. So supply chain basically is the network of the organizations who are either upstream or downstream, which makes a long chain of organizations and through which different products and services are delivered and value is built. So there are different types of supply chains. So they can be classified according to these characteristics. One is customer or supplier characteristics. They can be classified on the basis of virtuality, scope, complexity, products, purposes, and value. So let us see them one by one. On the basis of customer supplier characteristics, the supply chain may give rise to concentrated chains which are usually found in automobile industry. What happens there? There are few customers but many suppliers. Like there are not many car manufacturers. You know all the major brands. So but how many suppliers? Maybe thousands of suppliers are supplying to these car manufacturers. So that is called concentrated chain. Other type of chain is called batch manufacturer chain, where there are many customers and many suppliers who are manufacturing things in batches and supplying things in batches. And the third types of chains are retail and distribution chains, which like Lulu, Carrefour, all these hypermarkets or superstores you deal with, they have their own chain of value network or supply chain network. So there are many customers but relatively few suppliers. Okay, so there are many stores if you can see in Oman. But who are the suppliers? So suppliers are few, those who are producing the main thing for them. Similarly, there are service chains which are like banking service, financial services you can call them, hospitality services like hotels. You can talk about airlines. They have their own supply chains. That's how you could book through travel agents the tickets which comes from different airlines. Then other characteristics are virtuality in supply chains. Virtuality means virtual is opposite of real. The things which you can see, tangibility is there. You can see things and you can trace how goods and other things are moving. But in virtual enterprise, you cannot see the things because the tangibility is not there. In virtual supply chain, information replaces the things for inventories. Think about when you buy from online stores. You don't see how things are moving inside, what is happening from your computer, between your computer and the server of the organization, and between that server and the server of the supplier, and so on. So there may be thousands of parties involved in these transactions, but you don't see them even if you receive the good at some point of time. Then scope. Supply chains may be local, regional, and international in scope. So any chain within the your own region, Al-Batana region, okay, you can say it's a local chain. If you talk about Oman, in Oman, you can talk about a regional chain. And if you talk about internationally, when you're connecting multiple countries, then it can be international chain. So according to scope, you can classify them like this. And then according to complexity, also you can classify supply chains. Like supply chains may be direct, where there's no intermediaries between the supplier and the customers. Means no intermediaries means very little intermediaries. Then extended, there are some intermediaries, key intermediaries, and ultimate, there are multiple parties who are involved. So for a better understanding, please go through the additional references which I have put and the reading material. And with this, we come to the end of this particular part of task 2. I will explain to you further about direct, extended, and ultimate supply chain in the next video. So I look forward to see you. Try to learn as much as you can and watch video again, read the slides again, they are the same. Okay, so I don't think that you will face any difficulty in understanding the concept of logistics and supply chain once you go through this material. So see you soon for the second video under this task. Thank you very much. These are the references which you can further look upon. Please visit the task website in SULMS and enjoy learning. Stay safe wherever you are. Ramadan Kareem to you and your family. Thank you.